day. Thank you so much. And we're off to Brazil. Welcome to Florianópolis, Brazil. We've been invited by the largest shipyard in South America to come check out what they're all about. So come explore Schaefer Yachts with us.
And go into the air-conditioned space.
I think that's where he's hiding, in the AC.
Because it is very humid and pretty warm, actually. It feels like Florida in the summer.
It does. It doesn't feel like the weather changed at all.
I know, right?
Hello, Nils.
Good morning.
Good morning. Bom dia.
Bom dia.
So,
I know why you're in here.
Yeah, it's really nice in here.
It's really nice in here, actually.
Let's introduce you guys to Nils. We actually flew together, so it's not like we're just meeting for the first time. And he's been kind of in the background of the boats we've filmed in USA because he is
CEO of Schaefer Yachts US.
There you go. He's gonna give us a full tour, and we have a lot to explore.
1,000 people working here in 3 locations.
Wow.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 30th anniversary. Over the last 30 years, we have built almost 4,000 boats.
How many boats a year?
Oh, it's about 150 a year. But
that's a lot.
You know, smaller boats, obviously in larger quantities. But for example, the 66, we built 12 a year.
That's a lot.
So the range right now is
32 to 83 feet.
83?
Oh, that's a big. That's,
We
haven't seen an 83.
Is there
I
something
probably
you
can
can
show you one.
us? Oh, so excited!
Yeah.
So do we get to see like secret projects and stuff no one's seen?
A bunch of them, yes.
A new model maybe?
New models in production, yeah, not even on the water, so it has not been presented officially, so we see a little bit of the inside.
So this was worth the trip already. Let's do it. All right, so we're en route to...
We are going to the CNC, the 5-axis CNC machine we have. It's actually the largest one in South America.
Oh, wow.
And we own that machine and we use it only for our operations. We can prepare our own molds. You will see it's a massive piece of engineering and helps us really to get our projects done in the shortest time ever. For example, the 77 we have introduced about 2.5 years ago. We were 9 months ahead of schedule, and that's in part thanks to that machine.
That's insane. I've never heard of anything like that. 9 months ahead of
I never
schedule.
heard a shipyard saying they were ahead of schedule 9 months.
It's true, right?
I can't wait to see this machine.
Right?
All right, Nils, let's do this. I truly don't really understand. I've seen a mold or two, but you gotta explain it to me.
Okay, so step by step.
Speaking of CNC, wow.
Oh my God, I just realized this is a CNC machine.
That is the router.
Oh.
5-axis.
I didn't understand what it was. I thought it was like some kind of crane.
You're actually walking inside the CNC machine.
Yes.
The largest in South America CNC machine. This is crazy. Do you guys get the scale of this? This is giant.
I believe, yes, with us walking in here.
It accommodates a PVC block of 85 feet in length. So technically, our largest boat, the entire mold can be made in this CNC machine. Isn't that crazy?
Incredible.
Wow.
And if we would cut it into pieces, we could do a much
bigger
Larger
boat.
boat.
How do you make a mold?
Okay, so there's multiple steps involved. First of all, you have to produce a plug. So the first material we are using is basically a high-density styrofoam. The CNC machine is programmed to cut out the raw material of the plug. So basically, the positive of the piece you want to see later on in mass production.
If it would be a hole, right?
Yes.
A hole of a boat. It would actually look like the boat upside down.
Exactly, but in full material.
Correct.
So it's not hollow inside. It's a solid block and it just looks outside like a hull being upside down. Next, we have to finish the surface in order to then lay fiberglass into that plug to make it actually the mold. Let's check out how that plug looks like.
So the CNC machine is not making the mold, the CNC machine is making the plug, and then you make the mold out of the plug.
Correct.
Understand. So we're walking out of the machine.
So this basically is a plug, and that's the plug from the new 375. For the interior floor, you see at the end, that's the V-shaped berth. Here in the back is the aft berth. Then you have the bathroom one side and the galley on the other side. There was already a mold produced in here, and it just came out to go to the factory. And you see the evidence of them taking it out. So you see still the wedges they used to help the mold actually coming out of the plug.
So after the mold is removed from this plug here, technically it's no longer needed.
Correct. So you keep it just in case you want to produce another mold.
Understand.
In case there is a higher production, speed, more boats need to be prepared because it needs curing time. So if you want to double it up, you just produce another mold from it. But otherwise it gets stored.
Well, just learned something new.
So here is a plug where we just laid in the fiberglass in order to make that a mold.
Oh,
and you see also that typical green you often see in molds.
Yeah.
Green or red. And then also you can see here structures which are already put inside to the mold where we will later on build a steel structure on in order to put this upside down on the floor so that the workers can come in and then onto the surface of this lay the fiberglass in order to end up with that positive piece.
Got it. So when this comes out of the plug and you turn it around, it's actually a nice green finish.
It's gel coat and everything in there.
Yeah.
And that only needs to be waxed later on, gel coat sprayed on, fiberglass laid into it, divinyl close core material, vacuum infused, and you have your vacuum infused positive of that piece. And in this case, it's the sealing of the new 375.
So it's hand laid. The mold is hand laid into the plug.
Yes,
so
because you don't need the structural integrity you later need in a hull, for example. So there's no need to put in the close core material in there. Do that in vacuum infusion. That's not really needed there.
This is the same principle on a smaller scale for a smaller piece.
About 2 weeks ago, we made one piece and we've realized, oh, we made a mistake.
It was wrong.
So we basically took it, trashed it, and did the correction in CNC and tossed it back into the machine, and in no time it was redone and ready to go into the boat, into
Which
the
was
production.
a huge thing if you don't own one of these.
Exactly.
You have to wait for a slot. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
You're not relying on a subcontractor. You can do the process as many times as you want to.
And we have been asked many times, can you do something for us? But it would actually affect us and
It
our
would slow down your
abilities
production and your
to
ability.
be flexible, because
Yeah.
we would have to adhere to other people's schedule.
Well, that's why you're the largest shipyard in South America.
And while we can cut down on production times and manage to come out 9 months early with the 77.
It's insane.
Just before we arrived, the crew finished the vacuum infusion on a new 450 fly hull. So the process is technically already completed, but now the hull is curing. So you hear the vacuum pump still running.
All the hoses are still attached.
Still vacuum is applied in order not to have any risk of air going into the system. So now when you walk up to this, you already feel the heat.
Oh, wow.
So you feel there is
Wow.
reaction happening in there
Chemical reaction between the components.
during that infusion process. If you have too much resin in an area where you have no close core material, just an accumulation of resin, it will produce a reaction which is too hot, and the resin will start bubbling up and it loses its integrity and becomes actually weak in that spot. So that's the little secret you have when you're producing hulls or structural parts in vacuum infusion. Everything has to be in the right ratio not to produce this highly reactive state of the resin where it basically cooks itself.
Too hot.
Yes, too hot.
So not too much, not too little. It needs to be just right.
Yes.
This is so cool. It's hot already. It's still warm though.
Yeah, and it will be until the whole process is completed.
Check this out.
And then they take all the bagging out, all the hoses will come out, and then
Yeah.
basically the pure resin plus close core material will be visible. And then we put the stringer system in there. So that stringer system is all fiberglass, and it will be chemically bonded into the hull once this is done. And then this hull will go over to the factory where the assembly starts.
complete without being in the water.
Right?
Could not go all the way out here and not take one of these out for a sea trial.
Speaking of that, I want to drive this baby. I prepared already.
I see.
Because I know I'm going to lose my head otherwise.
So what stops me?
With the 1200s we have in this boat, it should be like 33 knots.
Wow.
Cruising is at 26. It's a pretty linear development of power versus fuel consumption on the IPS.
If you guys have not seen a tour of this boat, we do have one on our channel of this model. It's the very first one in US. I'll put the link in the description of the video or pop up right here if it comes up. This one is brand spanking new and it's a really nice interior. So we'll show you that as well once Rico's done playing around right here.
We got to play a little bit, right?
So we decided to escape the wind because it's getting pretty windy and choppy outside. So we're gonna relocate on the interior, which is really nice and quiet, I must say.
Super quiet.
What did you just say? Repeat what you said.
So, well, we are testing one boat right now which is ready to be delivered. So it's completely assembled.
Yeah.
But once we are done with the testing, we will actually disassemble it again to some extent. We will take off the hardtop and position it on the back of the boat in order to put it in a freighter to reduce the all-over volume, because you obviously pay for shipping on the volume.
So you do a full sea trial, make sure everything works.
Everything works, everything is assembled, and then we take it half apart again.
This is why yachts cost so much, you guys, because this kind of things you don't think about, but it's necessary in order to get it shipped. All bits and pieces of having a yacht.
That would be easily like another $50,000 just in shipping if we
Yeah.
wouldn't disassemble it.
I've been part of lots of commissioning processes and the time after through the yacht management, and I can tell you, like, doing a proper commissioning at the shipyard or at the arriving facility wherever in the world that will be is key. The more you do in the commissioning period, the less you have to do afterwards.
Yeah, basically it takes us only like 5 working days to put the boat back together. We take it off the container vessel. 5 days later, she is ready to go to the client.
Yeah, because the primary commissioning was done here, actually,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Makes
sense. Up on the flybridge, it was a little windy, a little loud. So we went to the interior helm station, where it comes in handy because you can actually be in a quiet space, still go cruising speed with the boat, and communicate with each other. Let's speed a little up.
Okay.
Oh, it's really quiet, actually. I hear a little bit from the engines, but very little.
I like that it's all in Portuguese. It's pretty awesome.
Right?
It makes a very authentic experience. So obviously having the IPS, it's going to be very maneuverable, right?
Very agile.
Very
Yes.
agile, right?
Like to try that out?
Sure, let's give it a little.
Let's go a little faster and then we can throw her in a sharp turn. You'll be surprised. We are going right now 28 knots.
28
Super,
knots.
You feel
super
like
comfortable.
So I'm gonna see with the
Quiet.
IPS, it should turn really nicely.
And I'm not holding on to anything either. Super smooth.
Very smooth.
All you see is just the horizon. That's the only way you know you're turning.
Isn't it amazing? I'm using the trim tabs a little to balance out the boat.
Yeah, so our trim tabs are rather large. So you
the-
probably noticed already with a little bit of tip on the trim tabs, you see that she is moving.
Oh yeah, here are the trim tabs. So look at this, we're doing almost 30 knots at 2200 RPMs. So there's still a little bit of juice left.
Yeah.
But it's a brand new boat. Let's break in the engines first, you know, before we
Agreed.
put too
Be
much
nice.
pressure on them. But it's a very comfortable boat. I mean, like, even at a slower cruising speed, what are we doing right now? 25 knots. Look how quiet it is. I don't even have to raise my voice.
No, it
I'm
feels
just doing
really
it because
good.
of excitement.
This one looks very different, the interior, than from the one we filmed.
Every year we are introducing new colors, and this one is now a very contemporary style.
Yeah.
I like very much also the dark woods, the glossy ones. There's matte.
Yeah.
I really love right now the Manhattan, which is a black matte style, and that perfectly works together
All
with the...
about preferences when it comes to
absolutely.
interior design. Sometimes the craziest boats we're on, like, who likes this? And then there's somebody who loves it. You know, it's like there's a boat for everybody.
Absolutely. Taste is something you can not discuss
No,
about. Absolutely, yes.
I love when people put in comments like, worst interior design ever. I'm like, for you, but for someone else, it's the best. So it's just, it's
What I
very
like
funny.
about this interior, it's very bright.
Very bright.
Bright and airy. You have a big interior space where you can have breakfast, lunch, dinner, meals.
Well, we're not going to go and do a whole new tour.
You might not do a tour, I'll do a tour.
Alrighty then.
Where'd she go?
Oh, she went already to the master.
No way.
Yeah.
That sneaky little... I want to check it out too. Oh, look at that. What are you doing there?
What? This is really nice. Look
Very
how
nice.
tall it is. It's very nice. There.
Look how low the bed is.
Did we say we're not doing a tour?
We're not doing a tour, but we're doing a tour.
We're live. I
By
want
the
to
way,
see it for
in case you guys are
myself.
wondering what the sound
Whoa.
is, we are actually docking right now with the IPS drives, so you can hear the engines and the props washing.
This is a huge shower. This is a full-blown, like, 3-person shower here. This is
beautiful.
Really cool. Maybe we should show them how they're docking.
That's where the IPS drives come in handy. As you guys can see, it is blowing. Like, I want to say we have probably close to 20 knots of wind, 15 for sure. And there's a current here as well.
Wow.
It really picked up just the second we left the dock to now. We got white caps in the bay here,
Wow. Really changed quickly.
right? Oh, look at that. We could have used this here actually.
And did you
Yes.
see those balconies?
So much more space.
And here goes the stanchions that go here.
Yeah.
So-
But it makes for a really tall bulwark, so it's super safe right here in the cockpit. This is how we're gonna deboard. So we basically have almost like a little,
This comes in really handy actually.
yeah, I didn't even think about this usage, but it's pretty much like having a transformer on the side.
If you have fixed docks like here, and depending what the tide situation is,
Yeah.
this comes in handy.
So today we're at a different location. You guys already know Nils. I'm gonna introduce Igor, who is the export manager.
Yes.
I did that right. Never happens. So where are we?
We are at the main facility of Schaefer Yachts. Here we produce all the fiberglass, all the woodwork, upholstery, and now we're going to show you some part of our lamination process.
I mean, I actually have never seen fiberglass process step by step. Like, I've seen it in videos, but never in person.
I only know it in theory, and I've learned already in the last couple of days that I don't know it in theory
Yeah,
either.
you thought you knew everything, but apparently not.
Let's not go like completely scientific, let's try to
Let's not lose everybody. All right, take
All
it
right.
away, Nils.
I want
Let's
to
go.
do it simple.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay, I like
so
simple.
This is a mold. You see it by the red color. Now consider this will be waxed, and then on top of this waxed mold, we spray gel coat. That's pretty much done here already. The gel coat is already on it, and now it's ready to get the first layer of fiberglass on top of that gel coat. This will be then later on the outside of that part. The inside of this will be the outside of the part.
Yeah, it's a little
He
complicated.
said it was going to be easy.
All right, and so what happens after the outside gel coat color is sprayed onto the mold?
Once the gel coat is on, we hand lay the first layers of fiberglass on top of that. First 3 layers, they're going in a crisscross. We have seen the gel coat. Now imagine this. You see those layers here? This is fiberglass, the first 3 layers of fiberglass laid in here by hand. This is basically to show through the hull check marks of the Divini cell, which is later on going in here. So 3 layers hand laid, then it's basically ready to start the infusion process. Another layer of fiberglass gets laid in here. You see it's a different structure of fiberglass, different material. And this will be also soaked in with resin now. And then those different close core materials and different thicknesses
Why
representing...
are they different thickness?
Yeah, they are representing different strength. And there's actually a book showing which type of material, which thickness goes into the different areas. all properly numbered with the different thicknesses. This is getting laid into the hull, then the tubing goes in, then it's all getting vacuum packed, vacuum bagged, evacuated all the air, and then we see the resin flowing in, and we can show you that on another piece which is in preparation.
Got it. So if I would peel this back here,
You see the gel coat, the white.
So this
underneath.
is the gel coat.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Got it.
So this is how you determine the difference between the mold and the actual later piece. In this case here, it's the deck from a 66. You'd see the difference with the different colors, green to white. White is the gel coat. The piece which is later coming out.
Understand. So how do you make sure that the gel coat sticks to the fiberglass, the two layers you're putting on top? Because of the resin, it just takes it with it when you take it out of the mold?
And you have to make sure that you do a proper waxing of the mold in order to separate it.
Otherwise you would rip off some of the gel coat and only pieces would come out or whatever. Yeah, okay, got it.
The thing is, you're so excited and nobody gets to see it.
Okay,
you're
that's
just
fine.
giggling around
That's
with the
fine,
camera
behind
in
the
your
camera.
hand.
So,
What do you want to show us?
first of all, it's massive. Look at this. This is from a 66 footer. You can see the stairs over there which go to the swim platform. You can see where the garage opening is. I can see a hatch here. I guess that's from the forward VIP cabin.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so weird because you gotta just turn your
It's upside down.
your world upside down. Exactly. It's kind
Well,
of
we've
interesting.
gotten used to it now with our build,
Yes.
but it's definitely really weird.
It's also weird that you start the painting the gel coat process first. I didn't know that that's how it works, but now I learned.
So where do we go next?
So we have another piece in preparation for a vacuum infusion later on today. So we can show you now the almost ready vacuum bagged piece. And once they are done with the bagging process, we will see the actual infusion process.
And Nils, just one quick question. What is happening
Yeah,
on this
what is
one?
that?
This is pretty much ready for being bagged. Everything is finished apart from tubing. The tubing has to be put in there. There's some guide areas where the tubing is going to go in there. You see all those little patches?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is where the tubes will be lined up. Veins,
It's like a
basically.
spider, yeah, like veins.
Yeah, like veins in the entire piece. And then you have different injection points where the resin will be basically sucked into it throughout the entire material. And then once all the air is out and is replaced with resin, basically the infusion process is complete.
So this is the step after what we just saw with the 66 over there.
And one step further is what we're going to show you
Okay,
now.
cool.
Oh, that's a 45 piece.
This is from a 45 fly, and that's almost done. So actually they have already put in the vacuum bag, but it's not evacuated still. You see there's still flexibility in here, but it's already sticked to the mold. So it's basically ready to be evacuated, and then you will see it sucks every air out and will hug the piece.
And the vacuum infusion process makes it lighter and stronger?
Yes. What you see over there, like one, especially the tank which is producing the vacuum, and then in this
You
tank
get manifolds,
here,
huh?
that is where the resin is going to be in. So they mix it up, put it in there, and then once the valves are opened, it basically flows into the mold or into the bagged piece.
So these are the tubes.
So we are now here at the beginning of the vacuum infusion process. We are just activating now the resin.
So now it's gonna take around 2 minutes to have it properly catalyzed.
Catalyze it? What does it mean?
Kind of like a two-component epoxy kind of situation where you have the activator, and once it's activated, you have a certain amount of time until it hardens out and gets strong, right?
We don't want to start the hardening process before we are ready to really infuse it.
And the time depends on the temperature, the weather, the humidity. It all depends, so they have to measure every day to make the perfect timing for the piece.
Once it's all infused and you're finished with the infusion process, how long does it take until it's actually completely cured and hard that you could consider taking it out of the mold?
The process takes 10 to 15 minutes, the infusion process, and then you can take over a day to have it completely dry.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is all the vacuum hoses. You have multiple extraction points. One here, you see one up there, there's another one up there, and one in the front, and one in the center. So that's where the vacuum is established. And by the time the resin is flowing back into those vacuum tubes, we start seeing that the infusion process is going to be complete. This big hose you see is where the resin will actually flow into. And then from that main point, it will disperse into the entire mold here.
It goes into all these little
Yes.
tubes, right? All over
So
the
you will
place.
see the resin flowing in here, and then it infiltrates into the close core material.
Got it.
Now it's gonna start.
Oh, really fast.
Whoa!
And now you see it in the
See how
tubes.
fast it spreads?
Oh wow, you can see it spreading like veins,
Yes,
like
yeah.
you said. It really looks like veins. Freaky process.
So you maintain the vacuum so that every part gets infused, every little area. You have to make sure that everything is under vacuum all the time and that everything is properly prepared, because once that process has started, you cannot stop it anymore.
Cannot be undone.
And you cannot really repair anything. If you missed some areas or you messed up in some areas, the piece is done.
How often does it happen that something's wrong?
Rarely, rarely. We are doing vacuum infusion since 2006. So we are one of the first really doing it on all structural parts, really early. We have more than 100 people doing nothing else but infusing.
Wow.
Every day, nothing else.
2006, that's like 17 years.
Pretty good experience with it.
Little by little goes everywhere.
What is this one?
That's a
This one is
vacuum.
where the vacuum is. This is where the air comes out.
Afterwards, you just cut it off, or?
Yeah, you just
So when
basically
it's
take all the bag out.
saturated like this, can you still stand on it, or
Yeah,
should you
of
move
course.
your foot?
I don't know.
No, look, here's behind you, it's all saturated
Yeah,
already.
he's standing in resin already.
Yeah,
Right now.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
This is already finished here. Look, it goes really quick. It actually
About 15
goes really
minutes for
fast.
that whole piece. So the beauty is you obviously have zero air bubbles in this process, and air is normally that what transmits noise. So also with this vacuum infusion process, you end up with a much less noisy boat. It's very rigid, lightweight.
Anything that you didn't know that you learned or find fascinating?
Yeah, I didn't know that it's so warm in the winter in Brazil.
It's summer here.
Oh, that's right. That explains it.
It's the same temperatures in Miami, so
I
it
know.
doesn't make any sense
Actually, it's a little warmer, I think. I've seen some YouTube videos of this process, but I've never seen it in real life.
Yeah.
So that's definitely pretty cool to see it with my own eyes and actually understanding how it works. I always thought the resin is getting pumped in, but it's only getting sucked in through the vacuum. I saw when you put it into the barrel, it's no pump, there's no nothing there. It's literally just sucking it out because of the vacuum getting sucked out.
Oh.
And I think what's also interesting is he can stand literally in the process, and there's no residue on his feet, no
Nothing.
fiberglass, nothing, and it doesn't even smell. Does it smell like
No.
anything? Oh, very clean process.
The lowest part is almost completed already.
Yeah, look, you can see it's all already saturated, that whole part behind you.
If you have areas where it takes a little longer, you have a manifold, right? So you can close certain sections off
Exactly.
and
You
open
will
certain
see
sections on,
yes,
right?
exactly. You will see eventually this one will start getting filled up,
Yeah.
but when this is solid resin coming back without bubbles anymore,
You close
can
it up.
switch that manifold to closed,
Yeah.
and then have more power even to the other
To the other
areas.
ones, yeah. Makes sense.
Fascinating stuff.
So where do we go from this?
So now showing you a piece which is still in the mold, has not been removed, and you can clearly see the difference. This is the gel coat part of it, and this is the mold. So in here you see already the fully infused portion of it. This is the Divini Cell close core material.
You can totally see it through.
Yeah, and it's
Wow,
like
that's
already
really strong.
the strong stuff. And you
So
see in some
this-
areas there's like wood inside, which doesn't mean that the boat is made of wood. It's just areas where we need to screw in components. This, for example, is for the radar base,
Or if you ever want to hang like a lamp somewhere down the line, right?
for example.
No, I'm
Yes,
kidding.
No. But if you have like cleats, for example, and you want to install a cleat, you
Or
need to
backing
have something
plates.
which gives it a little bit more, base to screw it in and to fix it.
So do you guys ever infuse like metal plates as well?
We
In-
do
in-
as well, yes.
in certain
On the bigger
areas?
boats, the big cleats, they will be infused as well, the base plates.
So this, from here on, it's all gonna come out.
Yes.
How did this happen?
This was a piece which was manufactured somewhere else and it was glued into.
Got it.
Because when you swing over here, you see this is the inner liner. This is basically the ceiling you'll see actually in the boat that goes onto the outer liner.
This is a brand new model, which is hull number 1 actually. So this is the roof of the center console, which is in the mold right now. So you see the fiberglass, it's in the mold, still upside down, right? This is actually the ceiling panel from the interior, which is already completed. So they're getting put together, both of them right now. So it's pretty cool, but we're here at this point to actually see it. Like if you come around, you can see this is going to be a windshield, this is going to be a door going forward to the bow, and it's 100% aligning because you see the little noses there. See these little guys, they're going right in here to make sure it's 100% lined up, and it's every boat will be the same way. Now it kind of makes more sense. I think you can see this is your ceiling panel. This is what you see from the interior when you look up. You see it's 100%, no room for error. Of course, it's multiple spots where it locks into place. So every hole moving forward is going to be the same. Thank you. Obrigado. Where are we going from here?
We're going into the area where the parts are getting finished. So when it's coming out of the mold, it's obviously unfinished, has rough edges. So we want to take all those off, take imperfections off, because really the next step is that the part already goes into the assembly.
Perfect. Let's go check it out.
This is so much quieter than the steel construction, I gotta say.
It is.
There's no like crazy banging going on.
It is.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
So this is how it becomes nice.
It starts looking like a boat. So basically, this has come out of the mold. You see now, this is what I mentioned before. You mentioned the inside.
Yes.
That's now the inside.
Makes sense.
From what you saw only from the outside. This is the gel coat outside. And they have already started finessing the outer edges. So imagine, when we start now doing the assembly process, a lot of stuff goes in here, and then later on, we marry it with the deck. At some point we need to finish this, and that's happening in this area.
This is wood.
Because things have to be screwed together, right?
Exactly. So this is again, right here, is a little piece of wood, because we use this area exactly here to screw them together, to mechanically bond them and chemically bond them. So there's screws plus glue in this area.
This way you can screw the deck that's over there to the hull.
Into here.
Yes.
This is the deck, which will later on get married with this hull.
The amount of preparation that you have to consider is what I don't think I realized. Like coming from what we're building, right? It's very different because you still can make changes. There's still stuff that you can readdress where it's going. This is like you really got to plan it, because once stuff is together, you can't do anything. It's done. That requires a lot more planning ahead.
This is the area where you mechanically bind it together.
Got it.
So screws go in here, but also glue will go in here. And in order to all make that look nice at the end, on top of all this will go the rub rail. So it basically covers all this mechanical bonding screws.
What's this here? Storage hatch?
No, this is a side step. To step on board, it's coming down.
Oh,
That's right.
it is so weird. Okay.
And again, we have
Got it.
wood in here because there's a lot of screws going in here. If my size wants to step on it, it needs to be...
So these are storage boxes for the interior, right?
Yes.
I mean, not stuff like closets or cabinets.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so it's like a puzzle. It gets
It
put
is.
together.
So from here on now, all finished, now assembly can start.
Okay, let's go. Oh, that looks shiny. What's that?
Oh, that's a
Here's
paint
the
booth.
paint place.
Oh, that's a paint booth.
If it's not white. Ah.
Yeah.
If it's not gel coat.
So we offer all our boats in certain areas being painted. The T-top from the V33 is one of those. You can either have it on white or in Pininfarina gray. So this is the paint booth where this happens.
And that's metallic.
Yes, and you can already see this is actually two parts. You have the deck, the top, and then you have the inner piece, and you see that right in there. They are already glued together, and they're obviously painted when they are glued together.
And you have all the cavities for cables and everything
For the
left,
lights
so
and everything,
just
yeah.
run it.
All right,
Okay.
let's keep going.
So Igor, how many locations do you guys have?
We consider to have 3 locations.
3 locations.
But actually there are 5 locations because Woodwork Place is a different location.
Yeah.
And we also have a teak factory. But in general, we say it's 3 locations.
Teak factory?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys do your own in-house?
Yeah, we do in-house. We get all the raw teak.
Yeah.
And we prepare everything inside.
How does stuff move between?
There's a lot of logistics involved.
Yeah.
Usually we have small trucks during the day transporting small parts, and during night we transport the hulls and decks and big parts.
Wow. So basically, in order for a boat to be finished, if any boat you have will move like at least 2 times, parts will
Yes,
move, and
at
then
least
the boat will
at
move?
least 2 or 3 times. Yes.
Wow.
Every boat gets tested at the final test facility.
Right.
That's where the head office is.
Yep.
So literally every boat
Will
that
make it
comes
there.
out of the factory, either from this portion of the factory or from where the bigger boats are assembled,
Yeah.
has to go to the final testing. Will go in the water, will be driven,
Yeah.
will be checked off that everything is okay, and then will be again cleaned up, partly
Disassembled
disassembled
if it needs
when it's
for
the bigger
transport.
ones,
Okay.
and then it goes to either US or Europe or Australia, or it stays here in South America.
That's a huge undertaking. I mean, it's already big enough that you have so many different things, but to have them in different locations, and the fact that you guys are able to make it work is really impressive. Because that's a huge undertaking. No one's talking to you.
Those are both parts from the 450 Flyer. This is the house and this is the deck. So this goes on top of that later on.
This is the stair coming up from the swim platform.
Yes,
actually,
correct.
right?
And this is the stair going up to the fly
To
bridge.
the fly
flybridge.
bridge.
Now you see an inner liner.
Yeah.
So you see there's no wood in here, nothing. There's no wood structures or anything. This is all fiberglass again, chemically bonded to the top part. This is all fiberglass as well. And this is all made in vacuum infusion. So we consider all those parts becoming structural.
So is that the norm? Is that what everyone does?
No.
Because
It's costly.
it seems very costly.
It is costly, but it makes a very strong boat, and it makes something which will, under no circumstances, ever rot, produce smell, mold, and all these things. You can pull down our ceiling panels, you will look into fiberglass, nothing else but fiberglass.
That makes you guys different from some other manufacturers. Where are we going next?
Assembly.
Okay.
Why is the blue stuff on site?
This is made in order to show where it needs a little bit more fairing or a little bit more polishing. They send that down, and then when the blue is gone, they basically know that they are now back to the surface where they want to be.
What do you mean fairing?
In some areas you might have some imperfections, some bubbles maybe,
Yeah.
and you want to fair this out as much as possible because it will be the finished product.
It's like
at some point.
wet sanding pretty much with a really,
Yes.
really fine sandpaper. You spray this or you put this on before so you know when this is gone,
Yeah.
you equally everywhere took the same amount off.
Wow, I had no
More or
idea
less.
that happens.
Is this also from the 450?
No,
That
this
looks
is,
pretty big.
660?
This is a 660 hardtop.
I just want to say, like, that's pretty big for 450.
You remember we test drove the 660?
Yeah.
And I told you that this is all assembled already. Now this thing will be taken off with the crane later on, put on the back of the flybridge with the support structure underneath on the cockpit, and then it goes into the freighter and will be shipped over to us in the US, for example.
All right, so going over to...
Well, believe it or not, we have already spent almost 40 minutes together. I know, time flies when you're having fun. You know the drill. We'll see you next weekend for the second half of this adventure, where we get to explore and learn some more, and we let you in on the biggest secret to the major success of this shipyard. It's actually a family-run business. Two longtime friends became family when their kids fell in love and got married. And now they're all work together. You have already met Igor. We'll also introduce you to Marcio Jr. and the actual Mr. Schaefer himself. I know it does sound like a Brazilian soap opera, but trust me, this one is definitely a happy one. Fueled by the love of water and the passion for yacht building. See you next week.